We are back with another Hinge update, not the online dating site. Just realized how that sounded. I'm so glad that you guys find these IKEA Hinge videos helpful, just because I've been on the other side of it where I had no idea what I was doing in terms of adjusting these different hinges and what they were used for. Although it feels like I'm always talking about the IKEA Utrusta 110 hinge, there are other hinges. So today I'm going to go through a few of them just to talk about the differences between the different IKEA hinges and when best to use them, of course, along with some install and adjustment tips as well. If you're new here, I'm Joanne from Jo's Abode. I'm usually building things in my own home, but over the last year and some, I've also been helping others update and upgrade their homes as well. I also build a lot of IKEA furniture and work through a lot of IKEA hacks, which is why I've become a bit of a self-proclaimed expert when it comes to dealing with IKEA hinges. The title difference between the Utrusta 95 and the Utrusta 110 hinge is the angle that the hinge allows the respective doors to open to. The Utrusta 110 allows for a 110-degree angle opening, which is why it's often used for kitchens where you may have to remove pots and pans that are larger and require more space. Or if you're installing a drawer inside the cabinet, this hinge will ensure that your door opens enough for the drawer to be pulled out. The Utrusta 95 opens, you guessed it, to a 95-degree angle, which is slightly wider than a right angle. If your cabinet door was next to a wall, for example, it would be more ideal to use this hinge as opposed to the 110. To start, let's talk installation. To install the 95-degree hinge, the door part of the hinge is pretty straightforward, as the back of the hinge matches up with where the holes are in the door like a puzzle piece. Once that's been pushed in, you tighten these two screws in order to secure it to the door. On the cabinet side, make sure that the latch is facing outward and place the two back plastic pieces into the existing holes already in the cabinet box. These three screws are what secure your hinge to the cabinet box and are also what you will tighten and loosen in order to adjust your hinge. In order to adjust the door up or down, you have to remove these two screws completely from the hinge before the mechanism will allow you to shift it up or down. You can see that the plastic piece behind the hinge actually stays in the same spot. This is to prevent you from drilling multiple holes into the area, which could lead to the screw falling out of the cabinet board. Once you have the hinge in the right spot, you can put the screws back in and tighten them into the cabinet. To adjust the door in and out, you will latch the door hinge to the cabinet hinge, determine the depth you want the door to sit, and slide the door in and out. The edge of this gray plastic piece is the furthest you'll be able to pull the hinge out. As any further, the door would just fall off. Once you have the right depth, tighten this middle screw here to secure it in place. Another key difference that you have to note between the 110 and the 95-degree hinges is that for the 110 hinge, the adjustment screws are actually separate from the installment screws. Whereas with the 95-degree hinge, two of the adjustment screws are actually the same ones that you use to install the hinge to the cabinet box. This means that with the 95 hinge, you're adjusting the hinge itself before tightening the screws to secure it to the cabinet. While with the 110, these screws are solely for adjustment and are separate from the install screws. Just because I had this issue while I was filming this, I figured I would include it. This was my Kallax or Expedite with door inserts that I upcycled in 2020. The shelf itself is way older because the Expedite was actually discontinued, and IKEA doesn't make a 5-box Kallax. The Kallax inserts also come with their own hinges that I don't think they sell separately. As you can see, the hinges have completely come off the shelf. This is definitely a design flaw because the sides of the Kallax shelf are actually hollow, so once a particle board wears out a bit, the screws would just slip right out. In this case especially, I couldn't drill the hinge into a different area because of how the door is supposed to sit in the shelf. I also couldn't use a longer screw because it's hollow anyway, so the screw won't have anything to hold on to. What I ended up doing was using thicker screws that were relatively the same length, so they were able to get more grip on the surrounding area and keep the hinge in place. I do hope that that was helpful. Please like this video and subscribe to my channel if you're interested in more DIY how-tos and home content. The countdown to our move has officially begun, and things are getting really hectic around here. We are in the process of finalizing our design decisions and slowly starting to pack. Make sure you follow me on Instagram so that you can see more behind the scenes content as we prepare for this move. We are also going away for about 10 days in September, which in retrospect is probably poor planning and slightly irresponsible, but C'est la vie. That being said, I am excited to go away for a little bit and get inspired and relax before the craziness of this move. I will absolutely be posting about the trip and where I'm going on my social accounts, so definitely give me a follow, and I will see you next time. Have a great week. Bye.